Tom Homan, the border czar for Trump, has told me about, and all of this will focus on those missing children, hundreds of thousands of them that we know. And that number has started to already come down, Emily, from 300,000. So they've found about 75 to 80,000 of those kids already. If they can get the list of these guys, 4 full days in office for Trump, if they can get the list of where some of those kids have been, and they've been identifying it, you know, since the election, going after them and trying to find those little ones, what in the world was Biden's administration doing? What was Secretary of Homeland Mayorkas doing when he said to the committees on Capitol Hill, we don't know where those kids are, I'll look into it? No, dude, you obviously had a better way to find them, and you didn't do your job. I can't believe they impeached him and didn't remove him.
I mean, that's insane. That knows that they knew exactly where they are. Like, what is Mayorkas doing? Is he like literally facilitating this? And got some from Misty. Man, Misty is the best. Smash that like button. You vote Kamala if you don't. Couldn't have said it better myself. Insane. So Steve Miller also came in and said something about this.
As you know, 500,000 children trafficked over a 4-year period in the United States. This administration is going to investigate every instance of child trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, child smuggling, and all the attendant crimes involved in that. And our message to everyone in the country is to cooperate fully with Immigration and Customs Enforcement so that we can end the scourge of child trafficking and child abuse that has been endemic these last 4 years.
It's insane. So I have to pull up a clip of Mayorkas when they were asking him about this, because you know, this is such a bad look that they could do this easily. And then he's literally saying, I don't know. By the way, we got 300 here. Should I just start doing these at 11 o'clock every night, or is this just a Saturday thing? All right. And then check this out. So this doesn't look
another
very good.
Element I want to remind, because this is painful stuff that people don't want to talk about in Washington. She interviewed a lot of these children who related to her, what happened to them on their journey when they're in the custody of the cartels. Yes, they were sexually assaulted. Yes, they were forced into labor that isn't appropriate for children under the age of 18. Yes, they're told that they have to pay off their debts when they get here, and they don't know what that means. Does that mean having sex? Does that mean doing some form of indentured servitude until they pay off their debts? It's the most inhumane way that any child could ever enter the country, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris created that pathway.
Ms. Marcos, you testified a moment ago to Senator Butler that every child gets a Know Your Rights presentation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that before or after you release them to labor traffickers?
Senator, every child that comes into our care gets a Know Your Rights presentation.
Have you read that children are scrubbing dishes? They are operating heavy machinery. They are delivering meals. They are harvesting coffee. They are working construction. They are working as housekeepers. They are working overnight shifts at plants where they are not paid. They are not going to school. They are not cared for. They are not giving meals. Almost all of it illegally. Are you aware of that? That's a yes or no?
Yes.
Do the Know Your Rights presentation help them in those situations?
Senator, ORR.
That's a yes or no, I think. Do you really think that you're helping these children by releasing them to labor traffickers and, yes, sex traffickers? 85,000 children whom you have no contact with, and your answer is we gave them a presentation before we turned them over to these people who are exploiting them on a scale not seen in this country for 100 years, a century. Do you do home visits in all cases? You can actually see where these children are being released, whose care you're putting them in?
We do not do home visits in all cases. Senator, I'd really like the opportunity to talk about what we
Let's look at what the secretary said to you. Mr. Becerra, that's the secretary, told the ORR director, that's you, right?
Extraordinary times call for extraordinary people.
Yes.
That if she could not increase the number of discharges, he would find someone who could. That if Henry Ford had run his plants like this, he would never have become famous and rich. This is not the way you do an assembly line. Get the kids out, run them through, get them out to those sponsors, those traffickers. Why didn't you resign when he said this? Do you think that this is morally acceptable? Do you think that this is acceptable to run ORR like an assembly line and to release these children to traffickers?
We do not run ORR like an assembly line. The safety and well-being of children is our top concern.
Plainly, it is not your top concern because you have managed to lose 85,000 of them. And they're with labor traffickers. How many are you in regular contact with right now?
I don't have the specific number.
How can you not know? Why would you come to this hearing and not know?
Respectfully,
I would like you to do your job and not release children to human traffickers. Respectfully, that's what I would like. I'd like you not facilitate the largest child trafficking ring in American history.
Insane. I mean, like, true evil stuff. And like, the question is, like, who's benefiting from this stuff? Like, is there like literally like like a handshake agreement where, like, okay, yeah, we'll let this slide, we'll overlook this stuff, you could benefit from it, give us some money? Like why is this problem such an ignored thing? Like, there's been like this for decades now, where there's always missing children and no politicians will talk about it. I mean, except for now. And then look at what Mayorkas was saying at one point. Like, this isn't too long ago. Like, this is crazy. Where'd this thing go?
Unable to account for ICE was also unable to account for more than 32,000 unaccompanied kids who failed to appear in court from 2019 to 2023, according to the report we read. The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says these children are being exploited and trafficked. Is that true?
Well, we certainly, Margaret, we certainly have received reports of children being trafficked, even those as to whom we know where they are. That is outside the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we turn children over within 72 hours, as the law requires, to the Department of Health and Human Services, and then HHS places those children. Of course, we investigate cases of trafficking, but there are children who are reunited with a parent here in the United States or a legal guardian, and they move. And sometimes the government loses track. Individuals do not comply with their reporting obligations or otherwise. I think it is inaccurate to say that all of them are trafficked or victimized. There are a number of reasons why we might lose track of an individual. That is not necessarily specific to this administration. That has been a long-standing challenge in the immigration system. One example of why that system is so broken, why the duration of time in proceedings is unacceptably long and has to be remedied. Remember, we're dealing with a system that was last reformed in 1996.
Oh my God, that guy is pure evil. Like, I don't know if any of you guys saw the podcast that Pat did with Annika Lucas, but she talked about being part of one of these ranks, like this elite high wealth people, like where her mother gave her to this child trafficking ring, and she, like, you know, all the worst things in the world happened to her. And she claims that when she went to try to report it, like, nobody would listen to her because, like, the judges and law enforcement and everybody was involved. So, like, you know, obviously natural thought is Epstein with this. There's a weird, crazy stuff around this child trafficking thing. But I mean, thank God he's in here now. And I guess, like I said, 85,000 out of 300,000 missing have been found already in the first week. That's insane. Yeah, Texas woman, like Alejandro Mayorkas, one of the most disgusting humans in the world. I mean, when I imagine what that guy's dirty secrets are, I imagine the worst things possible. He just has that look of evil in his eye. Denise, thank you. Denise says, I appreciate the way Brandon does research and also looks up what we are interested in. Love the format. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Denise. Love all you guys. Like I said, I love that we're doing this every day, because, like, the news cycle is so fast right now. I feel like every day there's just like an abundance of stuff to talk about. Like, there's saying that there's decades where nothing happens and then months where decades happen. Like we're in a time where we're seeing decades worth of change happening in days and weeks and months. So I couldn't be happier to do it this way, do this format. Because, you know, if you do something just twice a week, then, like, you know, by the time you're reacting to something that happened a couple of days ago, you know, like you're a whole week behind the news cycle. It's undoable. If you enjoyed the short clip, click right here to watch the full episode. And remember to subscribe to the channel. God bless.